Well, howdy folks, welcome to Mower Mike's. Today we're going to do a very special video in my mind because I have been thinking about this. I've been dreaming about it. I've had these redneck visions of building the ultimate lawnmower towing rig. Yes, I said towing. What I want is something cheap or even free that's going to be able to tow anything out of my backyard. Boats, trailers, specifically, I've got a big old pontoon boat, and it's been a challenge, folks. Now, if you've watched my last video, a few videos back, I went through and reviewed hitches. And I went through and I found the very best tow hitch to hook to a lawnmower. And you go back there and look, I went through all of them. This thing here is just awesome. I mean, it's solid as a rock. So what I did, I hooked up the tow hitch, and then I thought I'd tow my 3,000-pound pontoon boat. Cue clip 37. Well, folks, you see we got a good hookup. Whoa, shit. Camera 4, get on back. All right. Now, as you can see from that video, I had a complete failure. There were so many different variables that go along with using a 400-pound lawnmower that's about 4 feet long to tow a 3,000-pound, 20-foot-long pontoon boat, specifically when it comes to traction and weight. So let's just walk through what I'm working with. First, the rig. This here is what we call an X320 John Deere with a Kawasaki engine and a K58 tough torque transmission. The X320 was the commercial version of the John Deere. This sucker here is about 20 years old. It has the upgraded transmission, a K58, means it's heavier duty. It's got the Kawasaki motor. So as far as motor and transmission, this thing will tow all day long. I am not worried about that at all, especially with the service we just did on the transmission. I've got way too many transmission service videos. We put the what do we call it? The AMSOIL hydrostatic gear transmission oil, the super heavy stuff in here. We cleared out all the filters. I mean, she is ready to rock. But as you saw in that clip, the main issues, first of all, was traction. We've got just regular riding lawnmower tires on here. These things are about 20 years old. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade them. I found these big bite tires on the Amazon that have a ridiculous amount of tread. So I'm gonna get those mounted on the rear. We're good with the hitch, but then the last part is weight. Now, when you tow anything, weight is the most important thing because you've got, let's say, 500 pounds on this hitch. You want to offset that weight with the same amount of weight up front. That way you don't do a freaking wheelie like I did. So what we've got to do, we're going to strap on some weight to the front end. And of course, we're going to redneck it up. And I've got some old brake rotors we're going to attempt to strap on. So with that, I'm going to go to Discount Tire and get these things mounted, and we're just going to walk through and do a live test to see if my theories actually work. So stay with me. All right, the first step is done. We have got ourselves some new tires. Now look at those. If that does not get you excited, I don't know what does, fellas, because that is just pure awesomeness right there. What these are called Big Bite tires. Specifically, these are the 22 by 11-10 lawnmower tires. I got these on Amazon, about 90 bucks a piece. Folks, these are just awesomeness. As you can see here, they've got a very aggressive tread on it, but they are not like the other tires you're gonna see online because they're not ATV tires, meaning they are meant for grass and turf. That way they're not gonna tear it up as bad, but they're still gonna give us some sick traction on the rear end. Also, they feel quite a bit heavier just because they got so much more rubber on them than the stock ones. So I'll go ahead and put a link down below to some Big Bite tires. And to install them, folks, I just took them to the tire shop. I just went to Discount Tire because I did not want to mess with them. You can install them yourself. Go ahead and Google it. This is not the tire installation video. So next, as you can see, we got grip on the rear end, but what are we gonna do on the front end to weight down the front? If we come around to the front, look at this. So these John Deeres have this pretty fat bar on the front, so that's gonna make a perfect mount for additional weight. Now, when you add additional weight, you want your fulcrum point to be as far forward as possible. And on this tractor, that's as far forward as I can get. That way we're gonna offset the weight on the rear end, because when my pontoon boat trailer launches down on that hitch, she's going to put a lot of weight on it, so we've got to offset it the best we can. All right, folks, so for weight, what I'm going with, I've got a couple of rotors off the front end of my 07 Tahoe. You see they're a little rusty. We're going to clean them up. But when we're going ahead and doing a weight check on them, you can see they're about 47 pounds. So this will definitely help offset the weight. Will it offset enough where I won't do wheelies and backflips? I don't know, but folks, we are going to find out. So I'm going to clean these up, get them looking good, and then we're going to go ahead and drill some holes in that front bumper plate and install these bad boys and redneck it up. So stay with me. All right, so let's sneak around the front of the lawnmower and start addressing our weight issue. Now, what we've got here, we've got our brake rotors cleaned up with a little John Deere green spray paint. I mean, they look like weird green pizza pies. So I think it looked pretty slick, little elbow grease. What my plan is that we're gonna bolt them to this plate up front. And I've gone ahead and drilled 1/2-inch holes, and I've got 1/2-inch grade 8 bolts that we're just gonna go like this. And I think it's gonna work. We're gonna line up 2 of them, and hopefully with just 2 of them, that should be plenty of weight. Now, when you do this, I do suggest using front brake rotors, because your front brake rotor is gonna be a shallow, more heavy rotor. And because your back brakes they don't have quite the weight that the front ones do, and they're deeper. So let me go ahead and do this and wrestle this around and get these bolts in here. Thing's gonna look crazy. And we're gonna give her a shot, give it a test run. Well, folks, the tow rig is ready, and I tell you what, this thing just looks sick. I mean, look at that. With those John Deere green brake rotors strapped on the front end, about an extra 50 pounds hanging off the nose of her. I did notice the steering's a little more heavy with all that extra weight. We got the Kawasaki tuned up, 2-cylinder, ready to rock. We got the Hydro Gear transmission underneath, all serviced. We got a brand new seat on her. And then we got our big bite tires on the rear end for that little extra traction. And then we got our fancy tow hitch on the back. So folks, there's not much more I can do. I think the big question is going to be, do I have enough weight on the front, and do I have enough traction? So I tell you what, let's go ahead and do a test run, and I'm going to hook up my pontoon boat so we can go fishing, folks. Okay, I am ready for the big test. Are you ready for the big test? I'm a little nervous. So what we got here, we got our 20-foot pontoon boat hooked up about 3,000 pounds to the 500-pound lawnmower, and we're going to see if this works. So let's go ahead and get her hooked up. I got her lined up, and I'm going to lower it down on the hitch. Now this hitch can handle a lot of weight. I got a whole different video on hitches where I went through the best one, and this is by far the best mower hitch because it's got 3 points. And one thing you'll notice when you lower it down, this is a lawnmower, folks. It has no shocks in the back, so it's just a solid axle. And I also want to stress there's nothing safe about this. When it comes to weight of the lawnmower, it is way overloaded, poor brakes, manual steering, but we're going to see if it works, so I'll leave that up to you if you want to do this at home. All right, come on. Son of a bitch. All right, so we got her hooked up, lock her down. All right, let's give her a shot. Now, if you remember my last one, I did a wheelie and I peeled out. So the goal of these modifications is to do no wheelies and no peeling out. Well, it is definitely an improvement. One thing I noticed that I didn't expect, because this is not a limited slip differential, we had one wheel spinning out and the other wheel wasn't. So I'm going to use this, but if you want to do this, do it at your own risk. At least it looks cool. So with that, Mower Mike's out. See you next time.
Would you like me to explain?
I would love to hear this.
So would I.
The car that made these two equal-length tire marks had positive traction. You can't make those marks without positive traction, which was not available on the 64 Buick Skylark.
And why not? What is positive traction?
It's a limited slip differential which distributes power equally to both the right and left tires. The 64 Skylark had a regular differential, which anyone who's been stuck in the mud in Alabama knows. You step on the gas, one tire spins, the other tire does nothing.
That's right.